Have you ever wondered what it would be like to step into the shoes of your great-grandparents, experiencing life as they did? Imagine waking up in a world where the rhythm of daily life was dictated by the sun's rise and fall, not by the constant hum of machines. A time when the food on your table was not just sustenance but a story passed down through generations. Today, we're diving into a slice of history that's both rich and often overlooked: the culinary heritage of African Americans, focusing on 25 recipes that have been lost over time but were once staples in many households. These recipes weren't just about cooking, they were about survival, community, and preserving a culture against all odds. They were the flavors that comforted weary souls after a long day's work, the dishes that brought families together around the dinner table. And yet, many of these recipes have faded from memory, overshadowed by more modern culinary trends. But today, we're going to bring them back to life, one ingredient at a time. Share your favorite lost African American recipe or dish you'd love us to explore next in the comments below. Let's start our journey in the heart of the kitchen, a place that was both sanctuary and battlefield for many African American families. The kitchen wasn't just a room, it was the nerve center of the home, where meals were prepared with love and ingenuity. Imagine the aroma of spices wafting through the air, the gentle sizzle of frying pans, and the rhythmic chopping of vegetables on wooden cutting boards. Each sound, each scent, told a story of resilience and creativity. The first recipe we'll explore is something simple yet profoundly impactful: cornbread. Now, you might think, cornbread? What's so special about that? But let me tell you, this wasn't just any cornbread. It was a staple that could be found in almost every African American household, a testament to the resourcefulness of those who made it. Cornmeal, water, salt, and sometimes a touch of sugar, these were the basic ingredients. But the magic happened in the preparation. Picture yourself standing by the stove, mixing the cornmeal with your hands until it formed a smooth batter. The texture was crucial: too thick, and it wouldn't cook evenly; too thin, and it would crumble apart. You'd pour the batter into a cast iron skillet that had been heating on the stove, feeling the warmth radiate up through the handle. As the bread baked, the kitchen would fill with a comforting aroma, a smell that spoke of home and hearth. But cornbread wasn't just about taste, it was also about nutrition. In a time when resources were scarce, every meal had to count. Cornbread provided essential carbohydrates and a bit of sweetness that lifted spirits. It was often served alongside hearty stews or fried fish, creating a balanced meal that sustained hardworking bodies. As you enjoy that warm, freshly baked cornbread, imagine the stories that unfolded around the dinner table. Families gathered to share not just food but experiences, hopes, and dreams. The kitchen became a place where traditions were passed down, where young children learned the art of cooking from their elders. It was a space filled with laughter, conversation, and the occasional whispered tale of times past. But let's not forget the challenges that came with cooking in those days. Kitchens were often small and poorly ventilated, with wood-burning stoves that required constant attention. The heat could be stifling, especially during the summer months. And yet, despite these hardships, the cooks persevered, turning simple ingredients into meals that nourished both body and soul. Moving on, let's talk about another lost gem: black-eyed pea stew. This dish was more than just a meal, it was a symbol of hope and prosperity. Legend has it that eating black-eyed peas on New Year's Day would bring good luck for the year ahead. So, imagine starting your year with a bowl of this hearty stew, its warmth spreading through your body like a promise of better days to come. Preparing black-eyed pea stew was an art form. The beans had to be soaked overnight, their skins softening as they absorbed the water. The next day, they would be cooked slowly with smoked ham hocks, onions, and bell peppers, the flavors melding together in a symphony of taste. The aroma that filled the kitchen was intoxicating, a mix of earthy beans, smoky ham, and sweet peppers. It was a dish that spoke of patience and care, of taking the time to create something truly special. And then there was the matter of preserving food. In a time before refrigerators, keeping food fresh was a constant challenge. Many families relied on techniques like pickling, smoking, and drying to extend the shelf life of their produce. Imagine spending hours in the kitchen, carefully packing jars with pickled vegetables, the vinegar's tangy smell filling the air. Or hanging meats to dry in a cool, dark corner of the house, the smoke from the fire slowly curing the flesh. These were skills passed down through generations, a knowledge that ensured families could survive even in lean times. But the kitchen wasn't just about practicality, it was also a place of joy and celebration. Special occasions called for special dishes, and no event was more important than Sunday dinner. This was the time when families came together to share a meal, to reconnect and recharge. The table would be laden with a variety of dishes: roasted chicken, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and of course, that beloved cornbread. The atmosphere was one of warmth and togetherness, a moment of respite in a world that was often harsh and unforgiving. As you sit down to enjoy that Sunday dinner, imagine the conversations that flowed around the table. Stories of the week's events, plans for the future, and memories of loved ones who had passed on. The kitchen became a living history book, each dish a chapter in the family's ongoing saga. It was a place where traditions were kept alive, where the past and present intertwined in a beautiful dance of flavor and memory. But let's not forget the role of herbs and spices in these lost recipes. Herbs weren't just used for flavor, they were also valued for their medicinal properties. Many families had their own herb gardens, cultivating plants that could soothe aching muscles, ease digestion, and boost the immune system. Imagine stepping out into the garden, the morning dew still clinging to the leaves, and carefully picking the herbs you needed for the day's cooking. The scent of mint, thyme, and rosemary would fill the air, a natural perfume that spoke of health and vitality. Back in the kitchen, these herbs would be added to soups, stews, and teas, their fragrant oils releasing as they cooked. The result was not just a delicious meal but also a healing one, a dish that nurtured both body and mind. It was a reminder that food was more than just sustenance, it was a source of well-being and connection to the natural world. And speaking of connection, let's talk about the role of community in these lost recipes. Cooking wasn't just a solitary activity, it was a social one. Neighbors would often come together to prepare large meals, sharing their skills and ingredients. Imagine a group of women gathered around a table, their hands busy with chopping, stirring, and seasoning. Laughter and chatter filled the air as they worked, the bonds of friendship growing stronger with each shared task. These communal cooking sessions were not just about efficiency, they were about building relationships and supporting one another. In a time when life could be uncertain and challenging, having a strong community was essential. It was a network of support that helped families navigate the ups and downs of daily life, a reminder that no one had to face their struggles alone. But let's take a moment to consider the broader context of these lost recipes. They didn't exist in a vacuum, they were part of a larger cultural tapestry. African American cuisine was shaped by a complex history of migration, adaptation, and resilience. It drew inspiration from African traditions, blended with influences from European and Native American cultures, and evolved into something uniquely its own. This culinary heritage was a reflection of the African American experience, a testament to the creativity and strength of a people who faced countless obstacles but never lost their spirit. Each recipe was a piece of that puzzle, a snapshot of a time and place that was both challenging and beautiful. So, as we delve deeper into these lost recipes, let's remember the stories they tell. Let's honor the hands that prepared them, the hearts that shared them, and the lives that were touched by them. Because in the end, these recipes are not just about food, they're about history, culture, and the enduring power of human connection. But wait, there's more to uncover. As we continue our journey, we'll explore other dishes that were once staples in African American households but have since faded from memory. We'll learn about the techniques used to make them, the ingredients that gave them their unique flavors, and the stories behind their creation. And through it all, we'll gain a deeper appreciation for the rich culinary heritage that has shaped so many lives. So, let's keep moving forward, one recipe at a time, rediscovering the flavors and stories of the past. Because in doing so, we're not just learning about history, we're connecting with it, bringing it to life in a way that's both meaningful and delicious. And who knows? Maybe along the way, we'll find some new favorites to add to our own culinary repertoire. After all, the best way to preserve a tradition is to keep it alive, to let it evolve and grow with each new generation. As we continue our exploration, let's dive into the world of desserts, a delightful realm that often gets overshadowed by savory dishes but holds its own special place in the heart of African American cuisine. Desserts weren't just about satisfying a sweet tooth, they were about creating moments of pure joy and indulgence. Imagine the kitchen transforming into a magical space where ingredients like molasses, brown sugar, and spices came together to create desserts that were both comforting and celebratory. One such dessert that deserves a spotlight is the humble yet irresistible banana pudding. This creamy delight was a staple in many households, especially during gatherings and holidays. The process of making banana pudding was almost therapeutic, slicing ripe bananas, layering them with vanilla wafers, and pouring over a rich custard made from eggs, milk, and a hint of vanilla extract. The pudding would then be topped with freshly whipped cream or, in some variations, a generous sprinkle of chopped nuts. The result was a dessert that was not only appealing but also a feast for the senses. But the magic of banana pudding didn't stop at its taste, it was also about the memories it evoked. Families would often gather around the kitchen counter, helping to assemble the layers and sharing stories as they worked. Children would eagerly watch, waiting for the moment when they could sneak a bite of the creamy custard or a crisp vanilla wafer. It was these moments of togetherness that made banana pudding more than just a dessert, it was a cherished tradition. Speaking of traditions, let's not overlook the role of pies in African American cuisine. Pies were a versatile treat that could be enjoyed any time of the year. From apple pies with their golden, flaky crusts to pecan pies with their gooey, caramel-like filling, each pie had its own unique charm. The art of pie making was passed down through generations, with each family adding their own twist to the classic recipes. Imagine the kitchen filled with the aroma of baking pies, the sweet scent of cinnamon, the nutty fragrance of pecans, and the warm, comforting smell of buttery crusts. The process of making pies was a labor of love, requiring patience and attention to detail. The dough had to be rolled out just right, the filling had to be perfectly balanced, and the crust had to be baked to perfection. It was a craft that demanded skill and dedication, but the reward was a dessert that was both delicious and stunning. Pies were also a way for families to express their creativity and showcase their culinary talents. Some families would experiment with different fruit combinations, while others would add unique spices or toppings to their pies. The result was a diverse array of pies that reflected the individuality and ingenuity of each family. Whether it was a classic apple pie or an exotic fruit medley, pies were a testament to the culinary prowess of African American cooks. Now, let's shift our focus to another aspect of African American cuisine that is often overlooked: the use of wild game and foraged ingredients. In a time when resources were limited, many families turned to nature to supplement their diets. Hunting and foraging were essential skills that allowed people to make the most of their surroundings and ensure a steady supply of food.